Welcome to the NPTE Final Frontier podcast, helping one student at a time. Visit NPTEFF.com to enroll today so you can pass tomorrow. Thank you for joining us here on the Final Frontier podcast. My name is David.
And my name is Emily. Today, we will be discussing the power of study groups and really how to make them work. This can be underrated study strategies for NPTE success. Study groups are such a game changer, but only if you know how to make them work. So let's get into this and let's dive right in. So first, I'm going to discuss, why do study groups even matter? Well, as many of you may know, studying alone can feel very isolating. It can be hard to stay motivated, or you can kind of get stuck in some of your own study habits or your study ways. Study groups can bring fresh perspectives, hold you accountable, and help fill knowledge gaps by learning from others. They're such a great tool to be able to kind of bring all of your own unique study strategies or perspectives together, and then be able to really create an even better study plan moving forward.
Emily, did you use study groups when you were preparing or even in school at all?
So I did use study groups, but I think one of the most important things with study groups was learning how to use them effectively. And at first, I would try to just meet up with a group of my friends in my class and just sit down and study together. And that was not effective. And David, I know you're going to dive into a little bit about how to have an effective study plan with a group. And I think that once I was able to fine tune how to utilize a study group, then I thought it made a huge difference with my grades and outcomes. Did you use study groups?
So I get very easily distracted,
Yeah.
as you know that.
Oh, yeah.
But so for me, when I would have a study group, but if more people started to join that study group, I would have to excuse myself because it would just be more distracting to me. So I utilize study groups in school, especially for lab practicals. You need to work with somebody for lab practicals.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's such a good point. I agree too. Big study groups, I would be so overwhelmed. People would be talking about a million different things. It was not a good use of my time. And it's okay to make that known with your study group. Of course, you want to be a team player, but you should also be in a study group that is beneficial for you, not just others. So it's okay to voice concerns, opinions, or preferences and find people who align with exactly what you need as well. For example, I had two really close classmates, and the three of us studied really well together. We complemented each other's study habits very well, and we knew how to kind of keep each other in line. So I found that extremely beneficial. I tried some other study groups, and I was like, sorry, guys, I love you, you're my friends, but this is not happening.
I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hanging out in the library,
Yeah.
doing just full blown lab practical prep,
Some takeout
just on
Chipotle.
exactly. Ton of fun. Maybe not effective, but great stress relief.
Yeah.
Great stress relief. And so all right. So let's talk about some of the effective ways that you can go about setting up your own study group. And also, before I say that, I want to say, Emily, you said something very important. You need to speak up and be honest to your group. If it doesn't work for you, please do not remain quiet, especially with NPTE prep, because you got to look out for yourself. So let's talk about some effective ways to start up a study group. So for me, I think it's very important. Keep it small and focused. Aim for like 3 to 5 people so everyone can get a chance to participate. You don't need everybody. And especially if you're going to be studying for the NPTE and you post on our Final Frontier Facebook group, everybody is going to want to join your group. It is pure FOMO. We see it so many times where students get FOMO. Before you know it, your 5-person group ends up into a 500-person group, and you're not going to be helping yourself out. What you want to do is choose committed members. Pick people who are actually serious about their examination and dependable. Last thing you want to do is to have somebody just ride your coattails through into the examination while also they're holding you back. It's okay. Once again, be honest. No one has time to let people go. It's kind of like dating. So you also want to set clear goals. You also want to
That's
set some,
funny.
right? It's the truth. You also want to set clear goals, sort of like dating as well.
This
But
actually just turned into David's dating advice episode.
exactly, we could do an entire series of that. So set clear goals. Decide what topic you want to cover in that session, how long you're going to want to meet for, and what each person is going to be preparing into that session. Maybe if me and Emily are going to be studying together, maybe she's going to prepare a discussion about one topic, maybe cranial nerves, and I'm going to prepare something about maybe this special test of the shoulder. So this way we can both bring something different to the table. Or maybe we're both going to say, hey, we're going to study arterial blood gas values. And then we're both going to review that and prepare it. Something also, create a schedule. This way you can stick to it, you can be consistent with it, and hold each other accountable.
Yeah, I think to go off that a little bit further, David, you brought up a great point about setting clear goals and creating a schedule. And I want to elaborate on that a little bit further because I think one of the biggest setbacks with study groups can be when certain members of the group are not coming prepared. The whole point of a study group, in my opinion, study groups are for a bunch of different reasons, right? But the way I always used study groups was to fine tune knowledge that I already had or for that final refresher. If you're using it for something like that, if that is your goal of your study group, then everybody else should be coming prepared as well. Then the focus of the study group shouldn't be trying to teach one person the material if you're all trying to already have a conversation about material that should have already been reviewed. On the other end of that, if the purpose of the study group is to review a topic from scratch, from the start, as long as you come with those notes or that topic ready to discuss and dive into, then that would also be okay. Like David said, set those goals and create that schedule and talk to your group members about what the goals or what the outcome you would like of that group meeting is. Some other things you can do once you're actually in that group studying together, you can have that leader of that study group to kind of keep everybody on pace and in check. And that leader can rotate each session to give everybody a chance to kind of take lead, to be kind of the one that has to stay on top of that information a little bit more for that week. You can use active study techniques like quizzing each other or incorporate teaching concepts. Have that leader act more of like a teacher and teach whatever topic is they are presenting that week, for example. Keep distractions away as much as you can. Keep your phones on silent. Try not to have side conversations, not just to benefit you, but to benefit your group members as well. Remember, you are a team here. If you are deciding to study in groups, you are saying you are okay with being a team player. So, like David said earlier, that means yes, you want to speak up and say, how this could best benefit you, but you also need to be a little bit more open to, well, if my team members are incorporating this study strategy to help benefit me, then I should also maybe be open to help incorporate another study strategy to benefit my other group member as well. As long as it's not taking away from your studies, you also need to be open and, helpful towards your group members as well. As much as you need to put yourself first, you also want to put your group members first as well if you're committing to a study group. And you do not have to do a study group every day for studying. I encourage you to also have independent studying as well. Group studies are a supplemental resource. So when you are having that individual study time, that's when it's truly catered towards you. When you're doing that group study sessions, that small group study, this is when you want to keep everybody's interests in mind as well. And that's why you should be choosing group members who everyone's approaches kind of are in alignment with one another. And if something isn't working, it's okay to readjust and try something else. So, David, let's talk a little bit more now about, well, we talked a lot about why study groups can be beneficial and why they work, but let's talk a little bit more about why they don't work.
Yeah, sometimes it could start to become selfish for certain members of that study group, where, like you mentioned, it could become they're the prime focus, and you could become a tutor to them. And yeah, okay, maybe teaching could be beneficial to your studies, but what are you actually going to get out of that? Maybe it's a content area that you're really solidified in and feel really great in. What good does that do for you with your weaknesses that you have to grow in? So I think it's very important to know when the group also gets off track, when it becomes unproductive, and it's okay to take a break from that group. It's okay to switch to solo studying. It is okay to switch an entire new group. Like Emily and I mentioned before, you need to communicate with your group. I think I'm going to add something that I used to do as well with our study group. How you mentioned, Emily, that you could have a rotating leader. We used to have that rotating person at the whiteboard, where the dry erase board, where one person would be in charge of that marker. And we would say, hey, we want you to write this down and that down. So this way we didn't have to all keep on standing up and rotating back and forth. But once again, we delegated that role, and you have to know when it's time for you to step away from that role as well. So,
Yeah.
Emily, tell us about it a little bit more.
So, just to dive into a little bit further on that as well, I think another great thing to be mindful of is just because something worked for you at one point in your life or in your studies doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to be the same thing that works for you now or in the future. So, for example, I loved study group, using study groups the day before exams during PT school. It was kind of like our final review after we had been studying on our own all week. We would get together, do a study group session, and then we would have our exams, the following day, for example. When it came to studying for the boards exam, I personally only utilized, the live courses through Final Frontier as like my study group sessions almost. Otherwise, I was very individual with studying. And I just realized group studying for the boards exam for me, it was too overwhelming and I wasn't being productive. I tried it at the beginning of my study preparations. I tried to rearrange and fine tune it a few different times, and it still just wasn't a good use of my available time. But I did realize individual studying for me was a good use of my time. So I rearranged and focused more on individual studying. This could be the case for you, or it could be the exact opposite. Maybe group studying wasn't beneficial for you while you were while you were undergoing your PT or PTA curriculum. But now that it's come to studying for the boards, group studying is beneficial. So just because it did or did not work for you at one point, be open-minded. Things can always change. Remember, study groups are not magic, but when they are done right, they can really be a powerful tool for preparations. So I do encourage you to give it a try. Remember, stay focused and just watch how your understanding and motivation can grow while utilizing these groups.
Now that you heard this episode of the podcast, here is a quote from Helen Keller. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. So keep on working together, communicate, be honest, and look out for yourself out there. You're going to get your dream. You are powerful. You are strong. You are a Final Frontier warrior. You will pass.
Thank you very much for listening. For more information on Final Frontier, please visit npteff.com. You can check out all of our social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X.
Till next time, have a great day and a powerful tomorrow.